Good day YouTube, back here today at the machine. The machine was only running for about between 15 and 30 seconds and slowly is getting shorter each time I started it. I've taken off the cover off the injection pump. One thing that I haven't messed with or taken apart is this thing, but it potentially is drawing air in, so I'm just going to have a look at it. Something might be stuck with it, and maybe if I take it apart I can see if there's any issues and free it up if at all possible. So I'm trying out these new gloves today. So when you're dealing with fuel and things, that does have an effect on the hands. So said I'd give these a go. So again, I'm with my phone here and my set of spanners and toolbox. I should be using a ratchet on that, but I've only one hand when I have my phone out. Oh, this is spring loaded. There's a lot of crud and dirt built up there. I'm going to clean it out, see does that have any effect on it, and we'll see how that goes. My latest endeavour was to take off this actuator valve here. It actuates off the air manifold in the engine. I've identified that this diaphragm is frayed. I don't have the part with me. What I do have is some super glue, so I'm hoping it might just get it going for me in the meantime. So I've sprayed it with some WD-40 to wash off some of the debris on it, and then I've used some electrical contact cleaners. This stuff will evaporate off it. So I've cleaned it down as best as I can. Get super glue. So this isn't a permanent fix, it's just something to get me going. I'm not too sure how imperative this part is. I suppose what I do know is that I can do something to try and nurse it back together. So with super glue, less is more. I'm trying to line up the crack, and of course I put loads on it, but I don't have any baking soda, but it's actually meant to be good for filling cracks and things like that when you're using super glue. I have most of that joint filled, but I can still see a crack through it. If I just put a bit of super glue on it, will hopefully fill that. There is a small crack in it, but it's 100 times better than what it was. If the glue does harden, hopefully it will seal that crack and should do what I want it to do. So that's that aspect of it. I'm going to put this to one side and let it dry off. I've used some super glue to seal up this diaphragm just to get me going. Not a perfect job, but hopefully it will do the job. I've also used WD-40 to free up a lot of this. So the pin here is loose now at the moment. Hopefully the diaphragm can actuate against this and it might run properly. It seems to correspond with this slider inside the injection pump, so I'm not too sure where the resting position is for this. What I might do is turn that spring around a bit more, just so it brings this to the home position as kind of a standard. At the moment the spring doesn't seem to be bringing it back to its home position just there, so I'm going to try it anyway and see how I get on. It'll be one step closer anyway. I'm not 100% sure on how that works. If the air out of the manifold comes in along this pipe, it actuates this mechanism here, pushing a pin in on the housing of the injection pump, which in turn slides this up. So I might give it extra fuel when it needs it. So I'm after noticing that the stopper dowel pin here on the left screen with my finger was on the opposite direction, and that didn't give it enough clearance here on this hook of this arm. So what I'm hoping is that if I turn it around, I have identified that it's in the right location now. What I've also noted is where this lever arm goes back to. I bent this pipe back in the meantime, but you can see there's a notch worn in it. You can also see in the pipe that there's a hole in it, a hole worn from the lever arm. So I bent it a tiny bit, it's not to English anymore, but I think there may be a small hole in that pipe now. What I'm going to do is just put a bit of super glue on it a while just to see, is it drawing air through that location, is that somewhere else be causing issues to the pump. I'm going to try seal it up and see what we're gonna. I've bucked on the spring there on this slider. I'm not too sure what it does. It now returns home here. Hopefully this is another step forward. It's something that wasn't working previously and now it is, so I hope this will have an effect on it. Time will tell. I'll just put it back together there now, give it another start. I've put the cover back on. It was harder to put back together because it was all freed up now and there was 2 springs loaded this time, so I did put it together. The diaphragm in it, I'm worried about it that it could potentially be drawing air into the injection pump through this input. So it does say air, AIR, if I can focus in on that. So I might try blocking this off maybe when I'm started. That could potentially be the issue, that it's drawing air, so I'll try that. This dowel pin now is free moving. But the only thing about it is the diaphragm. I don't have one of those. But it's free moving. It seems to be a dead stop when I try it here. It must draw air out of the air manifold and bring it through this plunger actuator. Well, look up the name of it, I'm not too sure what it is, and into the engine. What I might do is, before I put it back together, take off this pipe here, which is going to the return line. See is there any dirt and debris in it. Might help to free that up also. I've just taken off the return non-return valve off the return side of the injector pump. There's a little ball bearing. It was jammed It's more likely why I wasn't getting return fuel in the return system. But I freed it up, but the spring in it seems a bit weak now. I'm not too sure how strong it should be. You can still see dirt and debris on it, but it's free now anyway, and with the auxiliary fuel pump on the system, the excess fuel now seems to be coming out this non-return valve and returning back to the tank. It's also going through the return side of the injector lines. Here on the return pipes. Here it was leaking out the one that I don't have copper washers in. I was coming down the side of the block there. You can see it's all fuel there. Gonna put it back together and see can I run it. I've rigged up a push button start onto the excavator. I've also rigged up an auxiliary fuel pump. Not too sure if you can see it here. There it is. It's off a tractor, I think. So I just got this additional battery to power it. You can hear it running there now. I've took off this cover again. I have to free out a bit more, but it's still only staying going for approximately 10-15 seconds, which isn't great. So I managed to get it off the ground finally. Now I'm going to try and track it out of its grave. See how this goes. She's a bit sick. Can't start it directly after again because it won't start. So all I'm getting out of it is maybe 10 seconds thereabouts. But I did manage to get the jib up in the air eventually after all these weeks. But ultimately, I'd like if I could stay running, of course. I'll have another go off there, we'll see how we get on. Must be losing oil somewhere here because it wasn't that bad. Fuck it. I think you might have to track the machine to one side maybe and jack it up and see if there's oil coming out of which side the oil is coming out of. Maybe I can block it off that side and nurse it back up to the ditch. But at the moment I just don't know. So the inline pump is in addition to the lift pump that's on it. Good day YouTube. Today I'm back at the excavator project again. The last time over the excavator I took off the injector pump. Wasn't getting the engine to run long enough for me to do anything with it. I bought a rebuild kit. So what I got was a gasket set and some components for the transfer pump inside in the injector pump. I'm not too sure if that will work, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a go anyway. So I'm here today out in my own part of the country. So you can see a change of scenery in the background there. So I'll show you the parts there I got. So it's a rebuild kit. I'll take it apart, I'll open it up, and I kind of set myself out here in the open. My garage there, the lighting isn't great, so I said it's a nice calm day. I said I'd do it on the outside. Sure, let's have at it. Got the rebuild kit off the internet, off a crowd over in England. If it works out for me, I'll give you their details. If it doesn't, I won't. What I'll do is I'll take it apart here and I'll get as far as I can. Sure, I'll see how it goes then. So here's the injector pump. Just going to take apart the top cover there. It's Allen head screws. The one thing about opening up things in the open is that there's a good possibility of things rolling off when you don't want them to, and this is such a time. So I have absolutely no idea where that thing went, but I'll pause the video there and have it off after finding the one part of it here. So I'm missing a spring now as well. I have these magnetic trays that I picked up. Didn't even hear that go on, but I found it. Just have to be a bit careful next time with these parts. So this injection pump, couldn't get it to stay running out in the field. But hopefully I'll be able to get it going. So the seal kit I purchased is really to seal up a leaky injection pump, and the blades are there to bring back the performance of the transfer pump. But what I'm getting is a lack of fuel in injectors. There's diesel inside there now. You can hear it. But there's nothing coming out, there's no output. So as far as I'm aware, that back position is the stopper in on this lever arm, and this, as far as I'm aware, also is the throttle on it. So the metering valve seems to be opening and closing there. So what I'm going to do is throttle in, or stopper in, and throttle max, which pops out the lever arm for the stopper. There's also a slider here. I'm just gonna put that in like that, stopper in, and that. So I'm gonna try and turn it with my hand and see what happens. Nothing happens. Just put a bit of WD-40 into the input side of the pump. See, there's a few gush out there with the metering valve. I don't know what the significance of that is, but there may be a gasket or something to stop that coming up through the metering valve. So I'll have to disassemble a little bit more here and take it apart. At the moment, like, I do have internal parts for it, so I haven't figured out a way of getting that one off yet. The Allen key I have is roundy in it. I have a needle nose voice grips and it's not working, but I am able to get these off a while, and as I'm here, I might just take them off. So I haven't taken out the olives yet. They're probably going to drop. Two of them have. So I need to clean out all that there. There's all gunk around it. So it'll have to be cleaned before I put it back together. These bolts actually look rusty enough, so I'm happy enough that they came undone fairly handy. I do have a socket set, only spanners just as handy sometimes. So on the back of this hook cover should be I think which is kind of a metal flap, kind of a case or something. I'm not too sure what it's called. I've just seen it on the parts diagram. I'll just make sure I see the orientation before I pull it out too much. You can see a seal. It's to be there, a dowel. Muck just have to fall in. So you can see that. You can see the transfer blades here that I got in the kit. So all the time as I take it apart, taking note of how it goes back together. So from this seal I can see that there's a flat side on it. Ideally I should have a pick set for these things. But sometimes you have to improvise and adapt to overcome the situation. So you can see the blades I got in the kit. One blade is facing out, one blade is facing in. There's an orientation there off for some reason. That's the casing I got also in the kit. So you can see all the dirt in that O-ring, which isn't great for it. So hopefully a good clean out will get this working for me. So I'm also doing this video there to make a record of which way things are put together, which way it's assembled for easy use when I'm putting it back together. So I hope you see a bit of dirt there in that channel, if we can focus on it. And these blades, the way they come out, I'll put them side by side by the new parts for comparison later. So you can see the top left of that kind of worn, but I don't know, is that would it give it the catastrophic failure that we're seeing? We're not seeing any diesel come out of it. Would it cause a decrease in performance, or would it cause a catastrophic failure? I don't know. This casing is kind of wallowed out, but I don't know, is that a part of the design? I'll get the new one there later for comparison. See which way it goes in. So it'll be interesting to see the parts I got. Will they have any different, make any difference then? So there still seems to be diesel in this side of it, and that transfer pump there. That diesel doesn't seem to be spilling out, so there's still something wrong inside here. I'm gonna have to take off this bleed screw and that bolt here to get off this section of the pump. So I'll do that there now. You see that there's an O-ring on this, so I'll make sure to change it out in the kit. So I've gone a little bit deeper into this pump. Look at the bottom side here. I've taken off this nut here. Just give you a look at it. So there's a washer on that, and also taken off this bolt here. So please note that there's a ball bearing that goes in to that hole there. So the ball bearing took off me when I took it out, and I'm not too sure if there's a spring behind it, so I haven't finished searching the ground yet, but I'm going to look at the exploded parts diagram and see if that is the case. But I'm just going to, because it's getting dark, just going to go into it a bit further. So the deal that's inside in the pump there now is more likely going to come out here, because I've gone into a bit further. See. So I'm not 100% certain what this actually does, but I will look it up. I will replace that gasket if I did get it in the kit. I might take it apart a bit more and seize it and kind of free it up if there's an issue with it there. But so I will check the gasket kit to see that I get something for that. So I don't actually know what that does, but I bet you it has something to do with this. I will check to see if that is free. So I don't know if you can see that. I am getting diesel out of this here now. So taking off this part may have freed up whatever is stopping it from pumping diesel. So I'm going to try and get this off and see if there's any more things that are stuck, potentially stuck. I can go from there. Don't have actually much holding on this pumping device, but you can see a bit of movement, but nothing major. Okay, so I can move this, but the metering valve is going into this housing, so I'm going to have to take off this these bits and pieces on the top first before I can take off this cover here. I managed to get the metering valve out by twisting this housing to one side and then kind of wiggly it out. I still haven't got off that Allen key there, Allen bolt. The threads are stripped and trying to grab the vice grips, but I have been able to work around this, so that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to continue on removing this. Wedge at the moment. Doesn't seem to want to come out for me. Wonder will a bit of WD-40 do things to me. Very stiff for some reason. Shit. So I don't know what them rollers are for. I don't know when he fell out. So I'm going to be going around in a minute with a magnet, trying to figure out what actually fell out of there. Maybe they fit in there, I would imagine. So I have two. I think there's one more I'm looking for. My magnet's going to be out in full force there in a minute. So that's one. This is two. There does seem to be a bit of wear on it. I'm trying to focus the camera on it. Don't actually know what that part does. As there seems to be different sizes of them as well. So they did fall out themselves. So this ring here seems to be another wearing part. I'm gonna look it up on the website and see is it something I can get also while I'm at it. I can see, I don't know if it's worn or not. I can see steps in that washer. Must leave a bit of junk in there. So there's numbers there. It's 81. Either 811 or 81L. Not too sure. Directional arrow. Not too sure how much wear is on this part. there does seem to be step changes in it of wear. So these could be why those pins are worn in the pump. You can see the wear in the pin. So I'm not too sure if that was a result of rubbing off this flange. What I'm going to do is review the gasket kit that I have and see what I can replace in it already, just to speed up the process. At the moment, those pins that fell out seems to be the only thing that have been really kind of loose as such. I'll just have a look around for the rest of them, and I'll start the process of rebuilding what I have and go from there. I'm here with the transfer pump head, and there's 4 pumping elements in my head, and they go into those slots in the tip of the pump. So I have a parts diagram for this pump, but it doesn't give the configuration of these elements. I've asked a few people about it. I've gone out to the person who sold me the seal kit for the pump, and I actually got onto a couple of YouTubers about it as well that have disassembled these pumps. And none of them seem to have 4 pumping elements. They only seem to have the 2 on either side. So when I took this transfer pump off the end of the injection pump, 3 of these fell out, and I wasn't sure which way it goes back together. So what I'm going to do is just I suppose justify to myself what way it should go back together. So what I'm thinking is the 2 long ones should go oppose each other, and they will meet in the center of the pump. So they'll meet here, and the 2 short ones then will go on either side, and they'll also go in as well. So what I'm thinking, the configuration I'm thinking is having the 2 long ones opposing each other, see, and then have the short ones going opposites. I'm going to try that and see how I get on. So like a cross way as such. I'm going to try putting in the elements. Those parts in, they all seem to be just proud of the casing. I've tried turning this stud off in order to get out this ring piece, but it seems fairly tight, and I don't want to go at it too much because I've actually seen a video where one of these is snapped. So I just might leave that as it is. I don't actually have the ring piece to replace. I can't do much there either, even if it is out. So what I do is I might just focus in the light there. I might take off these 4 screws here and take out the inside piece this way and just check for wear and things. So before I have even opened this, I have noticed that the top one here, there seems to be kind of wear on the slider, but it's in the top position now. It doesn't seem to have fallen down to that. So I don't know, is there something stuck there, or is actually something off the transfer pump that runs up and down that. But it is unusual that there's 3 of these here that are like that, with no signs of wear, and then this one at the back here is up. So I'll probably just put a circle in it when I'm editing the video, but just for explanation there, that's the reason why I'm taking that off. So I've taken out two of the rollers there. It can be seen that the one I was on about previously with the slider is actually, looks like it's meant to be there, and there's three machine screws into the other three rollers, the receptacles of them. So yeah, it looks like it's okay. I'm not going to go into it anymore because I don't have the parts for it. I do have seals and things like that, but I don't have more parts. So I suppose what I'm going to do is rely on what I saw as making improvements. So all I'm trying to do is get this machine out of the field. So I'm just trying to do enough just to get it out of the field. So like, it may need a new pump after, or may need a new engine. There's no point in me putting money into a injection pump when the engine could be banjaxed, and you know, I could get a different engine for it which would have its own injection pump and things. So just trying to work on a budget here as well, you know. So I'm going to turn my attention to the front of the pump here. There's a circlip on the front of it, and behind it is this washer here, but there is a seal behind this that does go bad. I can see from the previous installation from the previous owner or owners that there is gasket sealant here, which would lead me to suggest that the seal may have gone bad. I do have a seal in the kit, so I will change the seal. I'll just remove the circlip there and just move on to this dust cap, or just so I managed to remove this shaft key there now. Remove this washer. That seal there is the one that could potentially be gone. So this seems to be able to push through a bit. Not sure how much it can go. Might heat this in a while and see, can I push it, but the body of it seems to be able to push through. When I took this timer advance off, I think there's an automatic timing advance, but stand to be corrected there. When I took this off and I turned the pump, I did see diesel come out through some of the injector pipes, so I might just go into this a small bit and take it apart, see is there anything stuck in it, and put it back together. I don't think I have any washers for it in the kit, but it would be no harm just to take it apart and put it back together anyway, just to free up any dirt and debris that may have got into this. I'll get into that there now. So firstly I'm going to remove the gasket from the face. I'm going to use a screwdriver there. I've only two hands, so what I'll do is pause the video here and get back to it. As I get a bit closer into this, I can see inside in the shaft here that there is a bit of dirt in it, so that could potentially cause it to get stuck and block. So I'm going to just remove the end cap there and see, can I take it apart and put it back together again. I've gone into the timing advance component there a bit more. So as things I've seen along the way, there's a double spring inside and this side with the circlip here. The springs inside were compressed, and when I was taking off the head of it here, it took off, and the two springs took off, but I managed to pick them up. These are the bare components here. You can see inside in this, not too sure you seen this housing here, the dirt that's in it. So it was no harm opening it up and have a look. I'm going to clean out all these things now and just put it back together. And if I do have a seal in the kit that fits it, I'll fit it onto it. Also, there's a long section and a short section. So the long section goes opposite the circlip. See the circlip there, the short side and the long side. That's the way it goes in. So this is the kit that I got. I didn't buy everything on it, but I bought parts on the website that said they were common for failure, so to give those a go. Get a whole boil after. That's our lot. These are parts for the pump. They're blade kit and in terms of the transfer pump. So the blades and the transfer case. I got this diaphragm also because the diaphragm goes into this chamber here. So last I noticed that there was a slit in that diaphragm and got a replacement part for it in. So one thing I have noticed is that this kit comes with the transfer blades as well. Not to worry, as they were only about €5 that way, but I don't think I got the that housing with this kit. What I do is have at it and place it as I see fit. So you can see straight away the gasket here on the main gasket. It's for that. It's unfortunate that I don't have a perch to rest this phone on, otherwise I'd record the whole thing. I'm putting my transfer pump back together. So the ring on the back, this is the old one, so you see there's a bit of rust here. I haven't looked at my other videos yet. I don't know which orientation it goes, but I'm just looking on other videos on YouTube. They don't seem to have the slot here that I have. There's a slot in mine here. So I didn't notice that on the way out when I was taking it apart, but as I'm putting it back together now, flat edge seems to go against the pump. That's what seems to fit best for mine. And this slot here is on the inside of the pump. With that in mind, I'm going to put it back together and I'm going to use the new part which I have, and that is on the bench here somewhere. Put it in here already. This way I've put the wrong way around. It should be orientated the other way, and the flat edge should be against the backing plate on the pump. So this flat edge should be there, and the dowel pin on the pump will align to the transfer pump ring. So I suppose at the moment I'm getting a few of the names wrong, but I'll put a description up when I do find out the names, proper names. So this pin will go in against that. So I have an O-ring to go in here as well. I have the transfer pump blades here. I'm going to put them in. So one goes in that way, or oppose each other. It's a fairly snug fit. See the workings of them there, how they move around the ring. I'll proceed to put on the O-ring over here and then the backing plate. I just used the backing plate there to put up the dowel piece. So I got the seal on, blades in, just put on the backing piece there. So just 4 bolts, hold that on. I'm going to nip up these bolts and just move on to the next part of it. And hopefully I can bench test it to see is it pumping any bit of fuel for me. I can go back to the machine again, put it on, try and fix the next problem as it arises. So all I see ahead of me at the moment is the fuel not staying, the machine not being able to run. But as we've seen from the previous vids, the tracks haven't moved yet. Actually, at this stage I've got it to slew, but I only ran for the 30 seconds or so. I hope to increase that obviously and get on the back of the truck. So yeah, I'm going to just put on the top bits there now next. It's going to be the same as the removal. So I've cleaned out a lot of the gunk as well off this pump, and hopefully that will help it along some of it. Next thing I'm going to move on to is putting this basket on here. There's a steel washer that goes either side of it. I won't be able to use the camera and do that at the same time, but I did get a lash of steel washers with the kit. I'll have to go and have to put it underneath it and above it. I won't be able to hold the camera, but what I'll do is I'll put it on my chin here a while and see how I get on. I have to actually clean these a bit more because I can see a bit dirt on them. Just use a bit of WD-40 there just to wash it off. Smallest bit of dirt will clog these things up. Hopefully that'll do something for it. So I'll just get the bolt there a while. So you've got to imagine that I have this phone actually stuffed into a scarf. I think I'm doing well to actually get those washers in, because I have to look around the phone, and it's not the easiest, but I said I'd do it to make sure that you see all that's happening. All I have to do is tighten those up and start on the pieces there then next. Before I put the top of the injection pump back together, I want to talk about the slider here. So you can see that there's two prongs on the bottom of the slider, and they locate onto two cam rings in the body of the injection pump. Before you put it back together, ensure that they're aligned and the slider can go back and forth and push the cam rings back and forth. Bit of jigging, just back together there. Just have to locate the different aspects back together again. So the kit I got does have a little prong here, does have one of those, but it seems a bit bigger, so I just elected to put on the old one again. I did have problems with that machine screw, but I put a slot on it and I was able to get it off. But don't actually have one handy, so I'm just going to put it back on the old one again. Assembly is the opposite of disassembly, so if you took a video of your own, you'd be able to watch that back, put your own back together. Unfortunately this time around I didn't take a video, but well, I did take a video, but of the complete thing. I didn't take assembly step by step, so I have a few bits here that are additional to it. I have this sleeve here that I must find a home for, and these are bits and pieces that I've replaced during the install. So it's just a matter of a small bit of trial and error here, and be able to get it back together again. So this is what it is so far. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to put on the phone and crack on. So I am having issues here straight away, so I mightn't be putting it back together yet. Aha. What I might do before I put it back together is fill up the inlet here with either fuel or some sort of oil and run it through it and see are the actual things working here. That way I can be rest assured that it's working for me somewhat. Decided on the one for that collar. I'm going to place it around is the fulcrum for the spring to actuate on. So the spring is a bit tired. Hopefully it'll get me out of the field. So there's a way wrong anyway. But I have to find a way to get a bit more out of, more tension out of it. It just doesn't seem to be working that right for me now. So this seems a small bit strong, and it's the opposite way around. So what I do is just flip the spring and see does that do much for it. Joe is using one hand on the phone and one hand on the camera. My tool is a small bit magnetised, so it's just sticking to everything. So that slider's working across my metering valve. I'm just going to put all the additional components on now. Shouldn't be that difficult. The battery's running out my camera here, so I'll check back in when it's back together. So I stand corrected on that. I actually had an additional tab for that nut here, so I swapped it out. I got this one in and tightened home. I've just hop up these two tabs, so it's coming together for me. Just have to keep going, keep persisting. One thing I did notice while it's on this piece is that the spring I had up too high and the post here I put it under. So just maybe a point to note before you put your own back together. So I haven't seen this in other YouTube videos. It's some sort of a further advanced mechanism, I would assume, in conjunction with this one here. I think the one at the bottom might do the middle ring, and this one here does the one on either side. But I'm open to correction here. If you do have experience in these pumps, please put a comment in the comment section below, and it'd be good to have this information on this pump. So other videos I've seen, other things I've read up on, the transfer pump is different. There's 4 elements in this one. There seems to be 2 in others. There's a different type of head. I'm not too sure how it goes together, so I haven't taken out this part or the basket. It is similar, but the stud on the advanced ring inside here, I couldn't take it off, and I didn't want to break it. I've seen a video with it broken, so I didn't want to push my luck. As all I'm trying to do is get it, as I keep saying, is get it out of the field. So it could be fellas screaming at the screen to should have sort of changed this out, should have changed that out, but all I want to do is get it out of the field. I'm going to test it now, see does it have the desired effect and is there diesel coming out through it. If there is, and I can keep turning it and it keeps pumping diesel, I think I'm on a winning streak then. So stay tuned. I've opened up the diaphragm, and it's just a matter of putting the new component in. So this is the old component. I super glued it the last day. Doesn't look great, but I can feel that the diaphragm on it isn't half as sturdy as the other one. So this one seems a bit better, a lot better. It's just a matter of putting the PC back together. So I have to put there's a spring that goes underneath it. I have to put that back in there now. I'm not going to be able to do it on the phone, unfortunately, but I'll need my 2 hands for this. What I'm doing here is to see is clean. So I put it on. So this has got on here like so. I'm gonna have to come back to it. And this component here, going on top of it. So what I'll do here actually is clean this down first before I try to assemble. But I'll come back to you when I have the full thing back together. So I've put it back together as such. I'm trying to see the timing on it here. It's not looking great. I'm not getting a consistent flow of fluid out of these pipes, and timing seems to be a bit out. Let's say, I suppose by right you should see, you know, maybe a pattern, but I seem to be seeing double jets of diesel out through this. Just set up a little reservoir on this, on top of it, and just bench test it. Just give it open throttle. So with open throttle, so I'm getting the bottom side So that's actually the best I've gotten it yet. Seems to run out of steam for some reason. So that's something similar I've seen when it was running properly for 30 seconds and then it would stop. So I'm not at the pump. It's like there's something settling and it's like she'll work perfectly there now. I'll give it full throttle and try it again. I think there was a miss that time in this one. Might hook it up to the drill in a while and have a go off it again. So it is back together, but it's not 100% right, I don't think. But like I could be back to square one again with it running for 15-20 seconds and then stopping. I don't have many options, so I might do some further bench testing here and see how we get on. Good day YouTube. Today I'm back at the machine again, the FH150. Just a recap on the last day. I got the machine running, but it was only going for about 30 seconds. I got it this far, I got it to slew and things, but that's all I got it to do. So I had to replace some components in the pump, and see there, I slewed around. But today I'm going to refit the pump. Hopefully it'll stay running this time. You can see she's in a bit of a sorry state, but she hasn't run yet, or sorry, she hasn't tracked yet. So that could be my next problem. I don't know if there's any issues with track motors or stuck chains and things like that, etc, etc. So there still could be potentially a few surprises in this in store for me. I will take every problem as it comes, and hopefully we get her going. So I've the pump on the machine now, and I might as well start at it. It's been a while since I was at this machine. The injection pump is looking far better than it was the day I took it out. I didn't actually film the removal process, but hopefully I'll get enough of the fitting process so you can look at the video in reverse if you want to go at it yourself. So I might as well take off all these bolts, nuts and bolts, and set them to one side. I can proceed to start fitting the injection pump in. So I didn't actually get one of these gaskets for it, but if I get it back to my place, I have no problem in changing out that gasket. So these are a little bit more than hand tight. Spanner. Screen. So there's 3 lengths of bolts. This is the shortest one, so it does help to lay them out in order, so you know which way they're going back into the machine. So I started off at 12 o'clock, I moved anti-clockwise, so another short one. So also there's a little tab there on the bottom, so I know which way it's going back on again. So it came out that way. And I'll leave that not bolted in, just to index it. So I did put some, I don't know if you can see them now, I did put some marks in there the last day, as I just removed it. I didn't time it off the engine or anything, but hopefully it will go together for me again in the right order. So I put Tipp-Ex all around it to ensure that it wouldn't move, and that you can see the keyway in the shaft there. If the pump goes in, is it keyed? It can only go on one way, so if it's keyed into that shaft, it should be okay again. So there's if you saw the taking apart video, you could see that there was a kind of a keyway also on the transfer pump, and kind of aligned to one of the rollers inside the pump. So that should ensure that the timing stays with that key the whole time. Gear here in the timing cover, if that does move also, that means that the timing should stay correctly also. However, if it doesn't, there are other procedures to get it back in timing again, which I'll have to enable. We'll see how this goes first. So as I said in my previous videos, I've only 2 hands here, so I suppose I'm going to have to leave the phone down a while, and I'll stay recording the action, but we'll see how much it actually does appear on the video after, as sometimes it does move. So I'm just taking the nut off the front of the pump there, nut and washer, and so just turn the pump there a few times. It seems to be still running free, which is a good sign. So I'm running a small bit blind here at the moment. I do know the key was somewhat in that location. I don't want it to push out the cog in case I get it back quite correctly. I do have the Tipp-Ex on it, but if it doesn't move at all, it would be better. So I was jostling with several things there, all those ejector pipes and everything got in the way. So I can't see it lining up with the key of the shaft, but if I can turn it slightly back and forth, it may seat home for me. So I can't really see it. I'm going to pull it out a small bit more so the key might be So I've had a look down. The key is facing upwards here where it should be facing down at an angle. I'm just going to twist that around a bit. A bit more. No, sir. So I have the cover here and 2 bolts. Cover here and 2 bolts just to go on it. So that was the washer and the nut of the injection pump itself. So it's small bit difficult to put on. So what I might do, in the interest of keeping everything secured, I might just put on those bolts on the injector pump first, or the nuts, sorry, on the injector pump, and then proceed to put on the remainder of the items on the injector pump. So we'll just put that side on a while so it's going to square up with the face of the timing cover, and then I'll proceed to put on this washer. So I think I might have done it in a wrong order here, so the guys that have done this before probably be aware of this, but I have to take this off again, and the nut and the bolt go inside this little cover. So wait till I have the 3 bolts, 3 nuts tightened on the inject pump here before I squeeze it up. It's fairly straightforward to get the outside 2 bolts on. There is another one on the very back here, which is very difficult to get at. I had a lot of trouble getting that one off. Now, I've seen swivel spanners before. I'm just wondering, is that what people use them for? Because it does seem like it would work. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so I'm gonna have to make do what I can. So you might be able to see the nut going here. I can't see it. I'm just doing this all by feel. So the rest of my body is contorted, trying to get this nut on. So I'll be editing this video and I'll be thinking back about this nut. I'll be like, oh my god. I'll be thinking how difficult it was to put on. Hopefully it'll be worth it. I think I might have gotten it. Now there's 2 out of 3, so the third one is going to be nigh impossible. I'll try and put the phone down there and face it up. That might be seeing. You might be able to see something there. I can't see a thing, but hopefully it'll be a good shot. Just never put the washer on it. Can't even get near that. I may have to move the phone. I'll put my hand around to see where it is. That's it there. It's back now. I was just afraid that it wouldn't catch, so I spent a bit of time trying to get it back. Again, I can't see this, but the nut is, or the washer is on now anyway, so hopefully the nut will be as smooth. Haven't counted my chickens yet though. I think I have it. Woohoo! So you can't believe how difficult that was to get off the last day, but the difficulty was in the spanner really and the finger work, but managed to get it. I'm happy enough there. So I don't even know what way I was using the spanner the last day. I'll just have to try again. So I have the injector pump pushed home. I have the nuts on. There's three nuts all the way around. So I still haven't buttoned up these things. I'm currently putting on the injector pump here. So I have the nuts started. With these nuts loosely on the 3 nuts and the main nut tightened there, I've all these tightened. I've left these slightly loose, so you see the last day I marked it, and so I'm just aligning it to the marks I had put there the last day. So it's good to index things before you take them apart. I'm just going to fine tune this a bit. The phone is in my way a while. After you have it lined up here, you can proceed to close off these nuts here, and that will be in the exact same place then as you took it off when you were removing the injection pump. Last minute or two there, my battery went dead, so I wasn't able to film it. But it's a good sign. I'm going to try and track the machine now. I've loose stuff up the back there, so I don't want to go too hard on it. I haven't tried tracking it yet, so you can see here she's been there for a while. I might give it more res before I attempt to track it. So it's actually icy here, so the metal is all slippery. pipes are still loose here. I must tighten them up still. I'm going to try and track it a bit first. It's a cold enough night here in Ireland. It's my anti-theft device. Apologies if the sound is loud off the engine. These drums first. Good start anyway, she slewed around. So I might have actually run out of fuel. I'll check there and see. Shit.